Hey, Tyler. Good morning. How are you doing? I really hope you slept well and I really hope that you're strong. First, I have missed you. You can't imagine how long 1 week feels. I really thought that it was just going to be something that would, breeze by, but coincidentally, it was really long, and I was like, I can't wait for another Thursday to reach out to Tyler and get to talk to Tyler. My heart was just, pulsating up and down with excitement and all. And so I am so glad that I get to talk to you again to give you a little Monday motivation. Hope you woke up well, and I hope that from the last time that we shared the conversation via the podcast up till now that you've been good and you've had a nice week based on that calculation. Yes, kind of. Right. I hope you've had a nice week. I had a very dramatic week. Very, very dramatic week. I went for a journey. It was bittersweet. And then had a whole lot of meetings, a lot of things that we're preparing for. Some exciting news, some bad news, some disheartening news, but in all of it, it was pretty exciting. Maybe one of these days I'll be able to share with you some of these stories. It would be super hilarious. You would really laugh. But I'm sure one of the topics that we'll treat would warrant me to share those stories. Right, so thank you again for your feedback. I got all your feedback. Thank you. The response on the podcast for identity was amazing, and we're going to build on it. And I know that we're building something really, really strong. We're making progress, even though they're little baby steps. We're making progress, right? And I'm really proud of you. Really proud of all the effort that you're making in your life and generally, right? So today we're going to continue with our theme, me, myself, and I. But we're going to another topic, and the topic is, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Now, if you could recall, in the previous podcast, there was a statement that I made, and I was like, that your beliefs sponsor your convictions sponsor your actions, and then your actions create the reality of your identity, right? The basis, they form the framework of what we know as identity. So last week we were able to talk about the various factors that influence identity. But what we're going to talk about today is about the mind or thoughts and the power of thoughts. Now there's a verse in the Bible, Proverbs 23 verse 7, just the first part, the first phrase. It says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. It's a scripture that has been used a lot in the Christian circle, and also in the secular circle. It's been used as a very, very, mighty premise for discussion. And it may sound like, I've heard about this topic a lot, and I think I know the in and outs of it all. But the mind and our thoughts, it's a very subtle weapon. It's like a knife. Depending on how you hold it, depending on how you use it, it could be used to your advantage, or it could actually work against you. The mind in itself is just a tool that permits expression. So it's waiting to be fed a certain information, and then once it's fed that information, it works on it until it births a reality for an individual. So we're going to be talking about thoughts and the power of thoughts, and why it's important for us to value our thoughts. So from that scripture, it says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. It means that, to a large extent, the major expression of who you are externally will always be the indication of your most predominant thoughts. What you're thinking about. So how you, using the normal slang, how you size yourself matters. How you define yourself really matters. I know in the last podcast I made mention of it in passing, about the fact that it doesn't really matter what people think. If what you think is already bad, or what you think is already faulty, no matter how much people believe in you, right, you will not be able to give out that energy of their expectation in you. You won't be able to do that, right? So it just shows that it's very important, right? Very important for us to have a very healthy thought pattern, very healthy mindset, very healthy paradigm. Now, not just about life in general, but about ourselves. Now, like I said in the previous podcast, and building on that, while growing up, we look up to a whole lot of people to help define life for us. So let's take, for instance, everybody was born a baby. Now, as a child, I wouldn't say there's a whole lot of just assumptions here, but I think we could be able to agree with it. As a child, while growing, you'd be able to bear witness to the fact that the child looks up to the older person, or maybe the father figure, the parents, the mother figure, or whoever constitutes an elder to them, right? They look up to that person for a lot of things. So they tend to see that we walk generally, right? So a baby sees that, and then from a very young age, right, or as a baby rather, the child tries to emulate what he sees. There may be certain expressions that may be said at home or around the environment that the child begins to pick up, right? You see that the child is so apt to learn. But one of the things about all of this is that you never ever get the sense that a child thinks something is impossible. He sees somebody do it, and he or she believes that if this person can do it, I should be capable of doing it. So you see a child, probably trying to learn to sit. He sees everybody sitting, so he tries it. He falls, but he's like, everybody's doing it, right? Child's like, everybody's doing it, so I should be able to do that, right? Now that's like a very healthy mindset. It's a mindset that hasn't been adulterated, it hasn't been influenced by any form of negativity. And then again, there is a whole lot of encouragement within that setting. So the child tries to sit up and he falls, and then you see the parents or the siblings or the guardians will just be around the child and be like, no, you can do it. And so you can see that the child seems to gain that motivation to do. And then once the child is able to sit, right, there is this expression of excitement from either the parents, the siblings, or the guardians, right, or whoever is in charge of the ward at that time, that sends a message back to the child that, wow, I've achieved something, so I can move on to the next thing. And then the child now begins to try and crawl, and then it's like, okay, wow, I see the excitement again. That whole circle continues until the child now is able to stand. And then once the child is now able to stand and able to walk, there's like this graduation of progress, right? Graduation of progress, and seeing the whole excitement of accomplishments and all, and how people are just all over that child for achieving something great. So it means that naturally we were born with a very healthy mindset. So we're really born with a very healthy mindset. Naturally, we're born with that. The mindset that we had was a mindset of us being appreciated, loved, and accepted. We had the mindset that we could achieve anything, that every challenge could be overcome. So trying, exerting our energy into certain things was not hard. You'd see a toddler also trying, learning words and having all of those little encounters with, little failure and all. But they never ever get to the point where they relent in their efforts. No, they keep on trying. So it means that naturally we were born with a healthy mindset, right? You were born believing you could do anything. So what now happened? If naturally this belief factor in us was, always put there, what happened? So it means, or rather it shows that either along the line we were discouraged because of failure or being told we are unable to achieve a thing. Now, probably when you failed over and over and over again, what really happens, the most damaging factor is not even the resultant effect of the failure, but then what happens to your mentality. Because what happens is that you gradually begin to drift and feel that you can't achieve that specific thing. You literally give it the pedestal of an unachievable challenge, or an unsurmountable challenge rather. And many times, the failure in a certain event causes that, or people that we looked up to and held their words in high esteem, held their words to heart, these are the ones that now end up discouraging us and be like, nah, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. And it subtly affects our minds. And then, sometimes the fact that you just stopped trying makes you believe that certain things were not meant for you. Now, the moment, whatever energy or whatever thought you have in your mind, you naturally produce the energy to achieve it. There was this Olympic runner, long distance runner, marathon runner, I think from Kenya, and they used to run, 20,000 meters, that's 20 kilometer races and all. They're running for hours. And they asked him that how does he, get through it, because a whole lot of people, really stop to rest and all. He says that it gets to a point that he doesn't run with his legs again. He runs with his mind. And that as long as his mind tells his body to move, the body is going to move. But the moment he conceives defeat in his mind, he loses every energy to overcome that circumstance, overcome that challenge at that time. Now, scripture says that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. It means that the birthing place of your reality first starts from your mind. So the question I would like to ask, Tyler, what are you thinking? What is your own perception of yourself, Tyler? It's very important to figure this out. What's your own perception of yourself? It's not about what people think about you. It's not about what the world has said you are. No, you, Tyler, what do you think about yourself? It's very, very important that you're able to define these things. The person that should define your limitation, the person that should define the extent of your greatness, right? should be you. Naturally, this is what happens. If you lived your life for people to define it, right? They will define you based on their fears, they'll define you based on their abilities, they'll define you based on their perception, they will define you based on their perspective, what they see. So what scares them, they would naturally push it into your life. And so you find out that there are certain things that didn't scare you, but then over time, because you have accepted the opinion of people beyond or above your own personal convictions, right? You begin to harbor their own fears. Like, no, I'm not good for this. All of these things are not good, And then all of a sudden you find out that you're also falling victim of the same issues. So there's a part of scripture that says, whose report would you believe? It's important to find out which report you choose to believe. Because your beliefs, like I said, will sponsor your convictions, Tyler. And your convictions would lead to your actions. And those actions will define that your own identity. Now, people might have said stuff about you, but today's message is, Tyler, what have you said about yourself? The final scripture that I would share is in Philippians 4:13. Paul was saying, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I remember when I was having a time out with God and I was just meditating on this scripture. He shared something with me, really powerful. And he said that if you look at Paul's statement, he says, I can. So ability was not the challenge. So the challenge has always been about perception. Do you think you can? Do you think you are? Paul had grown up to such a strong conviction that absolutely nothing could waver him from his thought patterns. Nothing could waver him from his belief. So he looked, he said, I can. And then you see parts of scripture in Psalms where David says, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. These are beyond just affirmations, they are building blocks that tend to create the reality or the identity that people get to see from us. You would always be the expression of your predominant thoughts. Always be the expression of your predominant thoughts, Tyler. Now, what I want you to do today and throughout the week as a little assignment is this. What is it? Or what have you been thinking about yourself, Tyler? Do you think you're incapable of greatness? Do you think that you are somebody incapable of love? Because, for instance, if you think you can't love, you would naturally not have the energy for it. When love presents itself to you, you would shy away from it because you feel that love isn't meant for you. If you feel that you are an overcomer, right, and you're able to face a challenge, your whole life, your whole system begins to work towards finding a lasting solution. Your mind just opens to the possibilities of different strategies to fix it up, right? If you feel that if you think of yourself as a loser or second class, even when the chance for honor presents itself, you would always relegate yourself. Always relegate yourself. So take out this week and figure out, as a person, who am I? Figure out all these things. Find out, what have I been thinking about myself? What are my most predominant thoughts? Are they thoughts that I cherish or thoughts that I have to really let go of? Are they hindering me from being better? Are they making me better? I'll ask you this question again, Tyler. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? It's so important. Remember, your beliefs will sponsor your convictions, and your convictions will sponsor your actions. So that's very important. So this is just a little encouragement for you this morning, and I hope that it blesses you, right? So I would really love to get your feedback. And yes, so you could always reach out to me after hearing this, right? Reach out to me and we could always talk. I'd love to hear from you. So thank you so much, Tyler. Remember, I love you. I am seriously rooting for you. Do have an awesome day. Bye.